Yes, it's the football show Monday evening, and welcome. My name is Wale. I hope you've had a very lovely day today. I hope the weekend was smashing as it was for some of the guys we're going to be talking about today. Yeah, we're talking about we're zeroing in about on probably at the moment two of the hottest strikers ever to come out of Nigeria, actually out of the African continent. So we'll be talking today, amongst other things, amongst other stuff. We'll be talking about a certain Victor Osimhen, who plays for Napoli in the Serie A in the Italian league, and Taiwo Awoniyi, who plays for Union Berlin in the Bundesliga in Germany. I am not alone on today's program, as usual. I've got my colleague and friend and partner. His name Amos John Joseph. Amos, I was about calling you Amos Johnson. Maybe you have. Yes, Joseph and myself. I was about to give you a new surname, Johnson. I would sound
Well, Amos Johnson, Adam Johnson,
Boris Johnson.
Boris Johnson, probably.
No
It's good to be
relations,
back
though.
again. Honestly, it's good to be back again. After an exciting weekend of football, lots of activities, and then we're coming to talk about our very own young stars who are doing us proud across the globe. So we're so excited about these developments, and then we're happy that our youngsters are doing us proud wherever it is that they're playing. So it's something that gives us joy, gives the entire Nigerian nation or the entire black race joy to see our very own products doing us really proud wherever it is that they're playing across top leagues of Europe. And then there are other topics that we're going to be talking about, but I'm sure it's going to be an exciting one this evening.
Certainly would be. Like I always say, the English will always ensure that anyone listening or watching that Harry Kane is the best ever striker. Harry Maguire is the best ever defender. Jordan Pickford is the best ever goalkeeper. Why can't we celebrate our ones? I dare say both people we're talking about today, actually, I'll say, arguably, are the best strikers in the world at the present moment. I mean, you just needed to see Naples erupted when Victor Osimhen scored that brilliant goal against Torino in the Serie A just over the weekend. And obviously, the Berliners erupted when Awoniyi scored also that brilliant goal when they played over the weekend. So we're going to be talking about those two later in the course of the program. Stay with us. It's the football show. Like I said, my name is Wally, and I've got Amos there sitting and also joining me. So if you please watching this show for the first time, please don't forget to tell someone about the show and thumbs us up if you're watching, and obviously subscribe. Okay. The more you watch, the more you tell someone about us, the more you like us, the more we'll bring you content as beautiful as this. Obviously, like you saw when we started the show, the beautiful piece there about the two superstars we're going to be talking about today. But before we talk about them, a big congratulations to one half of the Oyinbo world who recently tied the knot with the sweetheart. We're talking about True Second. Truth, if you're watching, I hope you've recovered from the run around Mo Salah and the likes gave you when you lost, when Watford actually lost to Liverpool 5-0. Amos, before we go into other stuff, congratulations to Trust, by the way. Well done, guy. Let's talk about Watford. 5-0, and obviously Mo Salah made sure that Trust and Co had a day to forget. My question is also why you analyze that is, are they going to survive? We've got a new coach. It's too early to say. Claudio Ranieri is there now. First game was in, Watford played more like a Sunday league team that day, which was really very distressing because I was watching the game and I was thinking, what is going on here? So analyze that game. What do you think about the contributions of one half of the Oyinbo wall through second, and obviously Emmanuel Dennis, who did a yeoman jobs that day, but wasn't against a Liverpool team that's obviously very talented, very, very strong. At this very moment, my tip to win the Premier League.
I mean, I'll look at their last three runs before that game. You know, they've not won. I think they defeated Norwich, which was probably their best. They defeated Norwich 3-1, and then that was in the cup game. Before that game, they lost to Wolves, and then coming to play Stoke again in EFL. They lost to Stoke in a shambolic way, and then coming again playing Newcastle before playing Liverpool. You know, Liverpool have played about 13 games between August and now, and they've not ceased to score in each of those games. Right, they've
Mm,
scored in each of those games. At some point, they were scoring 4 goals, 3 goals per game. You know, they're that good. You know, they're in the best times right now. You know, a lot of people talked about Liverpool after that game and like, oh no, Liverpool was just out of this world. The combination of Mo Salah and Sadio Mane were too much for the Watford defense to handle. You know, it was just splitting the Red Sea. It was like it was like Musala
that's
was
a new one.
practically splitting the Red Sea, parting the Red Sea apart, and then putting pass through to Sadio Mane, who got his 100th Liverpool goal, you know, Premier League goal for Liverpool. That's amazing. That's an amazing
It
achievement
is.
for
It
Sadio
is.
Mane as well. But they were too much to handle for. And then Firmino again getting his goal. You know, he got a hat trick actually, you know.
Mm,
So if you look at that game, based on the statistics from Watford, player rating, it was a terrible game for them, and it was just a terrible day for their new manager Claudio Ranieri. It's a baptism. It's not a good welcome. You
mm.
know, it's not the kind of game that you want to have when you come and join a new team. It's just like
Mm,
Newcastle, right in front of their new owners. They lost scandalously, and no, sorry, not scandalously. Actually, they played really badly. You know,
mhm,
so look at Watford. How did they play? How did they manage to concede those goals? They were playing against a very complete and compact Liverpool side. Liverpool had their best team on the day. You know, they had all their men back. Right now, they are as hot as whatever it is that you can compare them with. That's why they are in the second position. They've not lost one game this season. You know,
mm.
that tells you that hey, Liverpool are a team to worry about. You know, if anybody is not worried about Liverpool right now, probably that person doesn't know what he's doing. You know, so they've shown over time or all through their Premier League games, 8 games so far, and then including Champions League and Cup games, making 13 this season already, and they've not lost one game. That's an incredible start, and they've scored about more than 15 goals or thereabout. You know,
Mm,
so that tells you that there will be a worry. Their attack line will be a worry for anybody. You know, before now we're talking about Sadio Mane angry uh, about being pulled out of games. You know, he's not having that good time. He wasn't having that good time with his manager Jurgen Klopp, but
mhm,
things seem to have steadied now. You know, the ship seem to have steadied and everybody is sailing smoothly. You know, so for Watford, it was quite unfortunate that a day before his wedding, just before his wedding, he had a very tough one. You know, you don't want to go into those kind of games. You know, those are the kind of games that defenders look at and say, "Hey, I've got a lot to worry about." If you're playing against a
exactly.
Sadio Mane, if you're playing against a Mo Salah, and you're not worried, I'm sorry, because it's going to be a very busy day. You just have to pray that they are not having a good day on that day, because if they dare have a good day, you're going to be in trouble, and then your goalkeeper is going to be in trouble. In fact, if looking at player rating, the goalkeeper was the best man on the day. You know, it was actually the best man on the day with a rating of about 6 or thereabout. Every other person, Emmanuel Dennis was 4, Trustekong was 5. Their best man, one of their best men was also Sissoko, and
Yeah.
you know, they would just try their best, but it was like fighting against a lion.
Mm,
It's like a dog versus a lion. They
exactly.
tore them apart. They tore them apart. The possession was awful. It wasn't the best of performance for Watford, but he also showed us what Liverpool are capable of. He also made a statement that, hey, Liverpool are right here and Chelsea were coming right behind you.
Exactly.
Manchester United, Manchester City, Tottenham, every other person, including Brighton. You'll be shocked that Brighton is still in fourth position right now, and
Exactly. Yeah.
Man City are third, just about, I think, 2 points or 1 point behind, 1 point behind Liverpool, right? So for Liverpool, they just want to go all the way. They are cruising right now. They look very unstoppable. They are not. All of their players are running. Imagine what Jurgen Klopp said about Mo Salah. He compares him to the best players of this
For
world
the world.
right
Yeah.
now. We've stopped
Hmm.
talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. We've stopped talking about Lionel Messi. But right now, we're talking about Mo Salah because he's the man of the moment. Look at the goals he's scoring. Look at the passes he's putting through across to his players. You can tell that this man from Egypt is arguably the best player right now in the world.
Hmm. And I know I asked you this question last week when we knew that Ranieri was going to come over and take over at Watford and will be coaching the likes of Dennis, Trust, Etebo, and the rest of the Nigeria contingent at the Vicarage Road based team. And he will obviously have prepared for that game. And just like Mike Tyson said in one of his famous quotes, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. Ranieri had a plan until he got punched in the face by Liverpool during that game. And it was really dreadful, like I said. Like I said, and no apologies there. They actually played like a Sunday pub team. Liverpool were good, don't get me wrong. They were brilliant, but Watford did not have their case at all with the way they displayed. And it wasn't actually no fault of anybody. A team of boys there, Nigerian contingent, did all they could. But just like you said, what would you do when you see a menacing, uh, devastating, dangerous forward line of Salah, Mane, Firmino, Van Dijk behind, Anderson in the middle? You know that team can destroy any team any day. But my question is, fine that Watford will not be playing the likes of Liverpool every other weekend. Can they survive? Can they stay in the league? And would the Nigerian contingent in Watford be instrumental to changing things around for the team in Watford?
I think they're not the worst team right now, right?
Mm. Yeah,
They're not like
yeah,
the worst team right now because yeah, they've been able to win 2 games. You know, they've managed to win 2 games. There's Norwich, there's Newcastle that are still
and Burnley.
there's Burnley that is still struggling to win, right? So the idea of bringing Ranieri at this moment, I think at this time, is probably one of the best decisions they could have made. But going to a game versus Liverpool, you might expecting too much would be expecting a magic would be expecting too much. If you expected that, oh, he was going to perform magic because of his status, Claudio Ranieri, I'm sorry, you aren't going to get any kind of magic. But if you look at the next couple of matches that they have, I think they're going to be playing Everton, they're going to be playing Southampton, they're going to be playing Arsenal. Arsenal are playing right now, and they're playing Crystal Palace. So if Arsenal get their jig right tonight, the next game they get their jig right, they're going to inflict more woes on Watford. Everton as
Mm,
well. Everton are also
mm,
not doing too badly. They are currently in eighth position right now, and Watford, it might not get better for Watford until maybe after the Everton game when they get to play Southampton or thereabout. Because the only team that I can guarantee, because they're still going to play Leicester City, they're still going to play Chelsea, it's going to get worse. And the most terrible thing for them right now is that immediately after they play Arsenal, they will play Man U, Leicester City, Chelsea, and Man City. Next four games is going to be really, really tough for them, and I'm seriously looking at how they're going to survive it. But Claudio Ranieri, being who he is going to find a way to get some results in all of those games. They might struggle with some of the results, but he's going to try as much as possible to steady the ship in such a way that they don't lose scandalously and it doesn't expose them too much. But maybe in a game against Everton, they could try and get a point against Southampton, get another point. Maybe against Arsenal, they might try to prove their point. But when they come against Chelsea, Leicester City, Man United, Man City, it's going to be too much trouble for them, and they're going to play those games consecutively. So it's going to be too much for them to handle. But football is played on the pitch, right?
Hmm.
Football, we
Yeah.
don't play football by speaking, right? So until we see them file out against Everton, against Southampton, and then we can know what the future would really hold for them. Because the turning point might not be right now, right? Might not be just right now. It might not be the next game. The turning point will be after those games. But I see them surviving really. I'm trying to see what can happen. The only person that can give them a run for their money will be Newcastle, probably with the new injection, right? With the new funds that have come in, because a lot of things are going to change with Newcastle going forward, and that is only going to happen, say, in January. It's not like it's
Hmm.
going to happen immediately. It's likely going to happen maybe towards December period and thereabout. So let's just wait and see what Claudio Ranieri is bringing on. We know the kind of manager that he is. He's this kind of manager that knows how to get results, grind out draws from games, don't lose too much, don't concede too many goals, and then try and survive. So it's going to be first try and survive this season, or up until December, before they can beef up the squad some more and then do whatever magic he wants to do. But expecting him to perform any sort of magic right now will be asking for too much, really.
Well, breaking news: Arsenal scored in the game. Amos was just saying, led by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang on the 8th minute against Crystal Palace. It started roughly badly for Patrick Vieira, who is the Crystal Palace manager at his former home ground. So, but it's just about 10, 12 minutes into the game. So anything can still happen there. It's football, just like Amos said. So, yeah. And another person we actually wanted us to have a look at is someone that had an assist in a very big match against Man United. We're talking about Kelechi Iheanacho, who plays for Leicester City. They did wonders, beating a team that had Ronaldo, that had Sancho, Jadon Sancho, they had Rashford, though Rashford scored. They had Pogba, De Gea, Harry Maguire, and little Leicester. Permit me to use that word now. They're no longer little. They won the Premier League, for like crying out loud, and they also won the FA Cup just last season, beating mighty Man
Right.
United. Kelechi Iheanacho, he did not score like I said, but provided an assist. Did well, would you say?
Well, honestly, sometimes football can be rewarding and at the same time it can be cruel, right?
Mm,
The god of football merely rewarded Leicester City for their efforts. They were full of energy, they were ready to fight to finish, and against almighty Manchester United with
mm,
Ronaldo, Fernandez, Sancho. How do you explain that you have those crop of players and then you lose 4-2 to Leicester City? So if you look at that game, right, the one of the terrible, or one of the turning points, what actually dictated the game for Leicester City was the fact that they exploited spaces. They practically exploited Manchester United errors in those games. Look at Harry Maguire. A lot of people argued and say, "Oh, Harry Maguire shouldn't have been on the field on the day because he was just returning from injury, and then you
mhm.
put him on the field because you wanted to have a solid backline or something." Why don't you play with
Or, may,
Lindelof
or
and
maybe, or
Varane?
maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was just trying to follow the advice of Sir Alex Ferguson, who said you need to always play your best players, no matter what, especially when he left Ronaldo on on the sidelines during their last game. So maybe he was just following the advice. What would you say to that?
Honestly, yeah, because sometimes you might follow those kind of words or those kind of advice, but not all the time. You know, allow the man settle. You're playing against a team that has runners, that has guys
Mm.
who are full of energy, Tillemans, Kelechi Iheanacho, Jamie Vardy, and the likes. These guys respect nobody. And then look at the errors that they committed. Look at how Leicester City were able to capitalize on those errors. They just waited and boom, it was 4-2 at the end of the day. I didn't start the match, but by the time I joined the game, I was like, what's going on here? So I also feel that Manchester United, people who support Manchester United, get a bit arrogant, thinking that it's going to be a rollover, thinking that it's going to be so easy. And one of the arguments is that Manchester United is not just the same as has never returned to be the same Manchester United we used to know in the past. You don't score a Manchester United and they don't score you back. You score a Manchester United, they will get the goal and get the winner. They
Mm.
don't only get the equalizer, they will get the winner. You remember the days of Wayne Rooney and the likes, they will get the goal, they will get. So that culture, that habit, or that attitude
Even if it was
will
during
go.
Fergie time.
Yeah, during Fergie time, but all of those left with Fergie. And the reality is Manchester United is going through a new process until
Mm.
we come to realize that nothing out of the blue is going to happen with this team until so I don't want to toe that line, but the club looks bigger, or the crop of players that they have right now looks bigger than Ole, honestly, because bringing on Ronaldo again to add to the team or to the squad is another headache. And how do you explain keeping out Ronaldo even when he's not doing well? How do you explain
Mm.
that? How do you explain that you have a Paul Pogba, you have a Fernandez, and they have to play at the same time? You have a Jordan Sancho, and then you're not winning games, you're not blistering over people, you're not just
Mm.
blowing everybody away. Maybe we just expect too much from these guys sometimes. Uh, you also I was watching um one of the analysis this evening or of that game, and then it showed how the players were not running compared to Manchester City. It showed the attitude of the players, even Paul Pogba himself, Pogba, Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, Jordan Sancho. What attitude do they put up on the field? Can you compare their
Mm.
attitude on the field versus Liverpool versus Manchester City? Look at the level of involvement. Look at how those players run around the clock. I mean, for one, Manchester City, they also have big players. They've got De Bruyne, they've got Bernardo Silva, they've got all of those players. Right, Sterling. They run all through the day because of the kind of manager that they have. He
Mhm.
wouldn't tolerate you walking around because if you cannot play to his style of play, I'm sorry, you have to be on the bench or you leave. So if a Manchester United that has got all of these players, all of this crop of players, and then they can't do magic, then there's going to be a problem. But the reality also is that nothing is going to happen overnight. The management of Manchester United seem to have a lot of trust in Ole, and then he's going to see the rest of the season through. Nothing is going to change overnight, but they just have to improve. Manchester United has to improve, really.
And I think I totally also toe the line, especially what you said of OGS, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't see the management or the owners of Man United now at this very moment saying they want to effect any changes at all. I was also listening to Gary Neville, Man United great, say when he was asked a question about would you guys rather have someone Antonio Conte being your manager, and he was like, no, 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 I don't think the management would like a Conte. Why wouldn't you like a Conte? he is a winner. But obviously, uh, they I think one of the problems with Man United, and apologies to, I'm not a United fan. I don't want to be biased. I think one of the problems with them is that they have a crop of ex Man United players who feel uh, everything should be done like it was done during Fergie's time. Guys, we've moved on from Fergie. I mean, Fergie was Fergie, you know. The old man was exceptional, but football has since moved on. People never thought there would be life after Arsene Wenger. But, well, Arsenal struggled. They struggle.
Arsenal is
They
struggling.
struggle. And they're still struggling. But Arsenal's still there.
Mm.
So saying, "Oh, a Conte will not survive under Man United," I don't know why he said that. Maybe the owners don't want a strong personality that they would feel is a bit confrontational to them. We all know Conte. If Conte wants bread and you bring biscuit, you're in trouble with him. Okay. If he says, "Listen, I want sweets," and you bring chocolate, then that's it. Maybe that's the way football is nowadays. I mean, we've got managers that are actually very tough. That are very tough skinned. It's actually my way or no way. As long as they get the, goods delivered. What do you want? I
Look, look,
mean,
look at
Man
look at the
United.
clubs right now. Like, look at,
Yeah,
sorry to cut you short. Look at the clubs.
yeah.
Like, look at Chelsea. Look at Man City. Look at
Even Liverpool.
Liverpool. Right. Look at the crop of coaches that they have. Coaches who have seen it, who have been there, done that as coaches, not just as players. Right. You might be a fantastic player. You might have been a fantastic player for Manchester United in the past. I mean, some over the weekend, I was just thinking. I was listening to Gary Neville speak, and then he was the way he was analyzing. I'm like, I think you should take up the coaching role at Manchester United,
I know,
and
but
then
he done it Valencia, and we saw what he did. It's
I'm sure
not
he doesn't
easy,
want to go back there anymore. So
No,
it's
no
easier
way.
said than done, really. These things are easier said than done. But the thing about coaching is coaches who have seen it, who have the experience, who have managed tough players, who have managed big players, they understand how these things work. Ole seem not to understand how to rejig his team. They've got fantastic players. They've got
Mm,
very interesting, very good players, but he sometimes doesn't understand how to shuffle his team. Look at someone was just coming from a 4 week, and then you put him on the team. It shows against a Leicester City. Why don't you allow him just come in, maybe probably in the second half, and then build up gradually, and then until he gets his full fitness? It was so evident that this man was just regaining his fitness, but they would rather have and Ole, and then so it also seemed like these guys are feeling they are so engrossed with the Fergie system. They feel like, oh, this
exactly.
is how things should be. This was how Fergie did it in the past. They have that entitlement that, oh, Manchester United should be the best team in the world. Who told you that other teams shouldn't beat Manchester United? Who says other teams cannot come and wallop Manchester United? But if Manchester United is going to stand versus Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, they need to be better. They need to do better than this, than they're currently doing now. And they've got all it takes. And that's another thing that is with this team. They've got all it takes to compete favorably against the top three or top four teams. But just something is lacking, which is the extra push, the additional motivation that comes from the manager. You can't tell a Cristiano Ronaldo when to pass anymore. You obviously cannot tell a Paul Pogba when to release the ball. But and that's where the job of the manager comes to play, because you need to have that personality or that character that the players will revere. And when they see you on the touchline, when they see you talking to them, they know that, oh, our manager is speaking. And that's something that is a bit, I feel like is missing in that Manchester United team. They need someone of that. They wouldn't. I'm not sure if they want an Antonio Conte, but because it's a different style of play entirely. Manchester
It is.
United is a team that plays fluid football. They want to attack, but you also have to be mindful of what your defense line is. Don't expose your backline. Don't make schoolboy errors at the back. Errors, if you make errors in football, you're gonna get punished. And that was what happened to them against Leicester City. They got punished for their mistakes, and I'm sure they will learn from it going forward because they've also got some tough games going forward.
Talking about punishment, I don't want to be punished because I need to go. We need to go on a break. My producer might get me punished if we don't go on a quick break now. So stay there. We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we continue this show, and we'll be talking about our boys in Italy. Okay, stay there. We'll be back in a second. Welcome back. It's still the football show. My name is Wale. I'm still with Amos Joseph. We've been talking about the English Premiership, our boys in English Premiership, and we've talked about the Man United problem. Hopefully, someone is listening to what we've had to say about the Man United problem. I'm picking one or two things from us on how to make that team greater than it was. Probably back to their best anyway. So, yeah, Amos, we're going to talk about our boys in Italy and in Germany now. We've talked so much about these two brilliant footballers. We've talked about them playing for the Super Eagles, bringing their club form to the Super Eagles. One of them has actually done that very well. Has been scoring for the Super Eagles. We're talking about Victor Osimhen, and then the second one. Taiwo Awoniyi, who's been doing extremely well since he's joined Union Berlin in the German Bundesliga. I mean, I it's so. I mean, I looked at the two games they both of them played just this past weekend, and I was actually proud to say, well, these guys are actually Nigerians, and we need to celebrate them. We need to say a thing or two about these guys. I mean, a question there: how good are these two? Um, Osimhen's goal against Torino in Naples. The Napoli stadium was like shaking after I scored that brilliant goal. And it reminded you of a goal that can only be scored by Cristiano Ronaldo. And obviously, Awoniyi's goals. I mean, he's been terrific in the Bundesliga. It's just when I looked at the goal scorers chart in the Bundesliga, I see the likes of Holland, I see the likes of Lewandowski, I see Sheikh, and I've seen a certain Taiwo Awoniyi, and I'm thinking, wow, these guys are actually doing what they should be doing. And Osimhen, what you see there, he's settled, settled in into Napoli. And I was reading an analysis recently by a Napoli ex-footballer, Astorzi, who was saying Osimhen reminds him of a certain Edinson Cavani, El Matador himself. Is that pushing it too hard, Amos? Are we seeing a new Cavani in Osimhen, or are we seeing an Osimhen who will at some time in future be compared to probably one of the greats to ever come out of Napoli? Let us start with Osimhen.
I saw that game at the weekend, the entire game. I just didn't want to take my eyes off the match for 1 minute because I was sure that Osimhen was going to strike in that game. And Torino were so they kept it very compact. They tried to curtail all the effort by Insigne, you know, and every attention was on Osimhen. Every time Osimhen gets the ball, they mark him in twos or in threes because they know what he can do and what he's capable of, you know. But in that game, what we saw was an Osimhen that was hungry, and that's how he plays. So Osimhen is such a striker that is hungry. He wants to score. He wants to prove a point. He doesn't like losing, and he wants to impress everybody as well. He wants to make sure that he beats his own record, which is on his way to achieving already. The number of goals he's going to score at Napoli will never be will it will out it will be the best of his career, over time. And that game, they just had to get a win. They did everything. They did practically everything, but the goals were just not coming. At some point he hit the bar. At some point, he laid a pass and then they couldn't convert. Insigne missed the penalty and then he was trying to make up. You know, but when Osimhen got the goal, he rose very high, and that was the same goal he scored against Leicester City in the Europa League. He rose tall and then got the equalizer for for Napoli against Leicester City in the Europa League. I'm so happy that we're talking about these guys right now because they are the best players that we can talk of when it comes to Nigerian football right now. And that's why it cost Napoli that amount, that huge amount, 70 million euros.
That's a lot.
Maybe, and then if you include other add-ons, it's about 80 million. That's a lot. And he knows what that means. He understands what that means. And he knows that he has to deliver. When he came on to Napoli, it was if it was at some point a 4-4-2 formation, because that was the same formation he was playing when he was Lille. When he was at Lille, he played with he was partnering with like Remy at the time. And then when he moved to Napoli, for injury, he couldn't continue with his form. And then this season, he understood what the task was. And this coach, as he's just doing the right things that he needs to do. Look at their run of form. They've not lost at all. They've not lost. I was thinking it was going to be their first loss, like their first loss, but they showed that they could do it. They showed that, hey, we are Napoli. Like, if you look at what Osimhen did, he almost took off his shirt, but and then he came back to his consciousness and like, oh no,
that's, a, that's a yellow card.
and then he's like, oh no, I shouldn't do this. Look at the goals he scored against Udinese, against Sampdoria. This guy is a prolific scorer. Aerially, he's good. He's got pace. He's got power. You could see him lean. He looks lean, but he's very strong. That's
Strong,
the kind
yeah.
of striker that Osimhen is. Aerially, he's very good. His hold-up play is fantastic. When he gets the ball, just launch the ball forward to him. He knows how to control the ball. He's got good control, and he lays the pass down to his fellow team player. And one thing that he's got good going for him that I like about Napoli is, if you look at himself, um, Insigne and Politano and Zielinski, they all play together. I'm just scared and worried for them going forward because I'm praying that either of them shouldn't get injured, just so it doesn't affect their performance going forward, because they've got everything going good for them right now. Insigne, Politano, Zielinski, and Osimhen. They seem to be that understanding between them all. Insigne, every time he gets the ball, he tries to look for Osimhen. Every time Politano, including Zielinski, they all look for Osimhen because they know that this guy would score. And look at his positioning as well. He's always in the right place at the right time. You know, Osimhen works really hard, and I'm glad that he's getting what he has gotten. Now, if you look at Osimhen, if he is going to survive in Italy, or what level is he going to get to? There are other Nigerians who have conquered that league. You know, that
Yeah,
league is a home to Nigerians. Nigerians are very strong. If you're not strong, if you're not strong enough, you cannot play forward in Italy. Trust me. If you're not a very tough striker, if you don't have tough skin, you can never survive in Italy. Imagine playing against the Maldinis of this world, playing against the Chiellini. You know, you have to be
and
very strong.
Bonucci and all that.
The Bonucci and the right and the likes. Look at Obafemi Martins, you know, in the past. Obafemi Martins also, when he got to Inter Milan, he proved his points, and then getting to Inter Milan first team, he played with the likes of Zanetti and everybody. You know, he was
Adriano, all them out.
Adriano and all of them. You know, he's very strong, he's very powerful, he's very pacey before he left the scene. Look at Simi Nwankwo today. Simi
Mm.
Nwankwo also scored. How can somebody score more than 20 goals in the Italian Serie A? You know, how do you explain that? How do you explain that he's a Nigerian? And then there are lots of people who are saying, I think Simi Nwankwo should fire his manager. I know we're going to talk about
Yes.
Onuachu at some point because you don't hit such marks, you don't hit such notes, and then you're not one of the best movers that season. You
I
know,
think
I
I think just
struggle.
like you said, it's one of the things actually. One of the problems I have with Nigerian players, especially those who are based abroad, is the fact that sometimes I don't know what they do with regards to their marketing and PR. I'm always someone who is very passionate about footballers. I remember when JJ Okocha was playing football, and some of the footballers that were playing football at the same time as JJ Okocha were
Hmm,
not even fit to lace his boots. Okay, yet they are so hyped up that you think, and it's the same thing happening nowadays. I mean, we were talking about the likes of Osimhen, Awoniyi, Trustekon, and what have you. Is it because these guys do not realize what it means by selling yourself? How can someone like Simi that played for Crouton or fine they were relegated? But you mentioned Simi Wako and people are, who is that? Is he a singer? I was somewhere one day and I was talking to my friends. They were obviously Europeans, and they're actually so versed in football. They know football. They know their football, even though they might not know
hmm,
so much about the Serie A. But obviously, when they talk about Italian Serie A, they know footballers there. And I was mentioning when we are talking about football and I'm mentioning we have this was about last season. We're saying we have a Nigerian footballer there, and they were like laughing you and your Nigerian boy. I said, yeah, there's a Simi there, huh? Simi
Star.
Nwakwa. They say, is that not Kanu? I'm like, no, it's not Kanu. I'm talking about Simi Nwakwa. He plays for Cotone, and he's actually one of the highest goal scorer. And they're like, nah, we don't know him. I'm thinking, what? Is it should our footballers be doing more about marketing themselves, about actually projecting themselves out there? If you score all the goals, fine, you have your Instagram, you're on Twitter, but you're there like you're not there. Should they
Hmm,
be actually also marketing themselves? Should managing outfit and manage PR outfit be doing some of this work for them? Do they realize? Do they know that we need to do this for people to know about us? You see quite a lot of English footballers that some of the Twitters, some of the Instagram are managed by people, professionals, and they're actually constantly in your face. Look at it. I'm sorry to go back now. During the Olympics, a lot of people, a lot of Nigerians got to know about the Nigerian basketball team, the Tiger, the Tigress. Why? Because they were constantly in your face, constantly in your
hmm.
face. They didn't do too well, but they were constantly. If we're going to talk about Nigeria Olympics, I bet you, apart from probably Ese Brume and the Nigerian girl that won the silver in
Mm,
wrestling, what comes to your head? Basketball.
yeah.
Why are our Nigerian footballers not towing that line?
I'm trying to see if Simi Wankwo is on Twitter, and
Yeah, I know it's on Instagram, but
yeah. So
you don't get to read about these guys. You don't get to
yeah, so
see them.
our players don't make conscious marketing efforts, right? They forget that all of these public relations, all of these news around are actually conscious, planned efforts. It just doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes media organizations don't just pick up on you and start writing about you. Media organizations don't just sit down and say, "Oh, there's a Simi Wanko playing in the Serie A. Let's write about him." Sometimes it requires your public relations team building a story around you, making sure that they are projecting you in the right light, and then ensuring that people who should see you, you are right in their faces. How can you score about 20 goals or thereabout, and then the world does not know you already? Of course, if you look at Paul Onuachu, everybody knows him. Because he's constantly there. A lot of people are talking about him, and it's not as if and he's going to move into another team. He moves to a Salatina, and I'm like, okay, if you're going to move to a club again, would you rather go to another top side or you go outside of Italy? And it shows you the kind of management that they have, the kind of agents that they have. I'm all due respect. I'm not saying that, oh, the club where he's playing right now is not the best team. Salernitana is a good team, but it deserves better, you know
Of course.
and everybody is talking about, oh, he needs to come and play for the Super Eagles. And then what's the justification? The man who's the coach will tell you, I've got an Osimhen, I've got a Kelechi Iheanacho, I've got the Emmanuel Dennis, I've got Terry Murphy. Why should I bring on Simi Wanko? Okay, what is he coming to do differently? And I've got a Paul Ebere, well, Onuachu. So you just begin to think, okay, but if he makes an audacious move, let's say an English Premier League team comes for him, he will be in the Nigerian team. Trust me. All of these excuses of, oh, I've got this one, I've got that one would end. And the coach will be forced to bring him on to say, oh, I think this guy really deserves this chance because he's playing where everybody can see him. You know, Not too many people know Simi Wanko because he also has this quiet personality. That you have quiet personality does not mean that you shouldn't shout about your game. Does not mean that you shouldn't have a
Exactly.
team that creates a buzz around you, not just a noise, but a real buzz that because your performance is there speaking on the field, and then little is being said about you. There's a lot that needs to be checked with some of these our players, and I'm glad that someone like Onuachu has made the right decision for himself because he's actually one of the top players being managed by those agents. But we're going to get to that. So maybe we should talk about Taiwo Awoniyi now. Taiwo
Yes.
Awoniyi is also. I went back to the interview that I had with Taiwo Awoniyi, and he mentioned that Liverpool was the best thing that has happened to him. That move to Liverpool was really something that came out from the blue. He wasn't expecting it. He actually wanted to move to France after the under 17 World Cup. There was an offer for him in France, and then he didn't go just because Liverpool showed up. But on getting to Liverpool, he had to be loaned out, and he has not enjoyed the best of loan. But the man also said that, hey, every loan spell that he has had, he has learned something. And I'm happy that he's coming good at this point in time. Someone who has also conquered the German league, who has also been there for a while, is Anthony Uja. He's also had his
Mm.
time with Cologne, and then he's in Union Berlin with Taiwo Awoniyi
I
now.
want to.
And I'm
Yeah.
sure he's getting all of the coaching and he's getting all of the support that he needed. So Taiwo Awoniyi is also one of the players that are very cool-headed. He's gradually finding his feet. He's gradually making his mark, and he's also looking to beat his personal best.
Mm.
The last time he scored those number of goals was when he was in Belgium.
Muscaron in Belgium. Yeah.
Exactly. If you ask him today, oh, your time at Moscoron, he'll say, oh, he loved it at Moscoron. But I'm sure what he's doing now is going to really outweigh what he has done in the past. And this is what we want to see. Let's have those best performances now, just so that people can see you and say, oh, this guy deserves a call up. This guy really deserves to be starting at our front line. You know, you cannot have a Taiwo Awoniyi and Osimhen, and then you're not conquering the world.
Mm. I tell you, I'm actually really looking forward to those two play for Nigeria. You know, I think the only thing that probably would rob them of really shining for Nigeria, banging in those goals for Nigeria, is probably if they don't have the right service. Can they score goals? I bet you, they will score goals. Awoni and Osimhen, they will score goals. If not, why are they scoring goals in Napoli? Why are they scoring goals in Union Berlin? These are top
Just
teams.
yeah, just look at the goals that Osimhen is scoring, right? Look at the goals that
Exactly.
would see. It comes with a lot of effort from the wingers. It comes. Look at, so this is how they play. They play Insigne, Osimhen, top striker, and then they play Politano. So you just the goals will come, and then Zielinski, or sometimes Zielinski and Politano interchange, and then they play one of them plays behind it. But look at what Insigne does. Insigne is such a fantastic midfielder. So and that's what we were discussing this, I think, 2 weeks ago. We're
Yeah.
talking about we need someone who can literally carry the ball and do some magic, right? Insigne is a magician. I've not really taken time to watch him until recently, and I began to think, oh my god, this guy is so good, and he's literally carrying Napoli, alongside the other guys up front. And this is what is missing from our home team. We lack that. We don't have that figure that has that confidence to literally carry the ball and say, hey guys, let's do this, and then dictate the pace of the game. Nobody dictates the pace of the game for us, unfortunately. Insigne literally dictates the pace of the game for Napoli. Every time he gets his mojo, they get themselves. you know. So Taiwo Awoniyi, congratulations to him. I'm so happy that he has finally found himself and is enjoying himself right now at Union Berlin. Let him just go all the way and keep scoring goals. Nothing, no injury should come for these guys. I was having this discussion with someone today. I said the only thing that is going to stop Osimhen and Taiwo Awoniyi and whoever it is that is playing at our front line right now is only injury. And we just have to keep hoping that injury doesn't come and stop them at this point in time. They've hit that form and they are unstoppable right now.
Quickly in 1 minute, what do you think? How far could these two guys go? Osimhen is probably at the peak now. He's playing for a great club side in Napoli. Union Berlin, where Awoni plays for, it's well, they're getting there. They're in the Europa League, I think, in the Europa League or Conference League, one of them competitions. But it's doing well for them. They might be a small club. How far can these two boys get to in terms of their individual playing careers?
I think they are going to go all the way. Taiwo Awoni and Victor Osimhen will go all the way to represent the best clubs in the world, especially for Victor Osimhen. Look at his career today. Look at the level at which he is playing. He can play at any club. You can literally fit him into any club right now. He plays as a lone striker for Napoli, and he does all the magic and he gets in the goals. And his presence alone is causing a lot of defenders problems. It's always a very busy day for defenders every time they have to mark Osimhen, because he's got that energy. He's going to dash to the right, he's going to dash to the left, and then you have to keep chasing him about. So you don't have those kind of defenders who've got energy. You're going to gas out, and then Osimhen is just going to score the goals. Those goals are going to come because he puts himself where he should be at the right time. He ensures that he's well positioned for the goals. And look at that goal that came back to him. As I'm like, how did this goal just come back? It was just destined to get this goal yesterday. The ball actually deflected off a Torino defender, came up, and then he rose high with a header. and that was the goal. He literally could not believe himself, because he had worked really hard. Because these guys are not lazy players. The Taiwo Awoniyi and Victor Osimhen, go and watch them. You agree with me that they deserve to play at the highest level of football because they are not lazy players. They've got what it takes. They've got the skills. They've got the basics. They grew from a very tough background and they understand what it means to survive. And one of the things that Osimhen has got good going for him right now is that he also has this um, buzz around. The unnecessary noise around him has calmed down a bit. There's no distraction from anywhere. Oh, agents this, agent that. All of those things are kind of gone right now, and the man looks really happy. So it seems for him like everything is going perfect, things are going well. He seems really focused, and trust me, he gets really angry every time he doesn't score. The only thing that he needs to manage is just to manage his emotions some more, and that's it. Osimhen, fantastic. Taiwo Awoniyi, awesome.
Hmm. As we round up, there's one more player I actually wanted us to have a look at, and we've spoken a little bit about him, Paulo Noachu, who plays for Genk. I was having a look at his career. He's been at Genk since 2019. He's played 68 games and scored 51 goals. That's some return. If this guy was probably a Brazilian or a Belgian or an English person, we'll be raving about him. Every time I probably switch on my TV, probably one commercial, the other, what have you, and what have you. It probably would be in one of the top teams in Europe at the moment. I mean, what is he still doing in Belgium?
Honestly, when I saw the news that he sacked his agent, I was really happy. And then I went to look up the agent, and I saw that the best or the top player the agency manages is an Ivorian defender who plays for Leverkusen. His name is Odilon Kosono, and then he's worth about 20 million pounds. That tells you that, hey man, you are bigger than these guys already.
I'm
You know,
telling you,
if you are the hottest, if
a
you're the biggest
striker.
property he's managing, that means you're the biggest already. So, and I'm happy that he made that decision to let them go, and then he has found another partnership. Now, the team that manages him now is they call them Niagara, and then they manage Danny Olmo, they manage
Mm,
Murata, Jonathan
exactly.
Ikone. So those are top players who are
Yeah.
worth over 45 million pounds, who are worth over 50 million pounds. So that's the kind of management you should be. You shouldn't be scoring those number of goals and then still remain in Belgium. And see, whether we like it or not, I'm not saying Belgian league is not top notch, but they are not rated. They're not well rated compared with the top six. They're not rated compared with the Bundesliga, with the Italian Serie A. Are you saying that Onuachu will struggle to play in one of the teams in Premier League? He won't struggle. He's a good player. He's a good striker. He's old up play. Look at what he does for Genk. He's all of the goals he scored this season has been right in the box, and they know how to use him. See,
Mm.
I was looking at one of the stats, and then I realized that he finds himself most of the time in opposition half, and then that has resulted into at least one goal, 1.21 goals per game. What else do you want? He's just a target man. He's just a target man. He has scored 9 goals already in 8 appearances this season without even starting all of the game 100%. He didn't start all the
Wow.
games, but he has scored 9 goals already in 8 games. So what else do you want? It's either something is wrong with his management or he himself is not serious. And I'm sure that he took a very serious decision now because he wants to move his career to the next level. And he told the world that, hey, Genk is ready for discussion. Any team that is interested should start coming. They are ready to cooperate with him. You know,
Well, I honestly wish, and it goes back to what I was saying about Nigerian players. I mean, you're out there doing the goods. I mean, delivering the goods, doing what you can do. You're trapped in a contract with I don't know, whatever management team. You need to get out there. You need to look at the Brazilians, look at what they're doing, look at the English ones. I always compare. I like comparing because skill for skill, there's no way you can compare. Look at Harry Kane now. How many goals has he scored? How many games has he played? Compare that with Onuachu. Well, fine, he's playing in Belgium, but football is football. He scored 9 out of 8. How many has Harry Kane scored? But the English
Mm.
press, as he's saying, is probably the best in the world so far.
Yeah.
So and you got the Osimhens, you got the Awoniyi, you got the Simis, every one of them, and people don't really hear about them. If not that they're doing well for top clubs they are in at the moment, people don't really hear about them. Find it on Instagram. They make all the noise they can make on Instagram. That's about it. And that's like you're making a noise to the
Mm.
locality. We're talking about Nigerians now. What are you doing to the outside world? That's why you need to think outside the box. Players, footballers, Nigerian footballers, the managers, if you're watching today, you need to start thinking about, projecting yourself, being outside the box, think outside the box, and let people know what you're doing so you can play at the top. We always like to celebrate
Exactly.
you if you play for the likes of the Inter, AC Milan, Napoli, Chelsea, Man United, or what have you. We
I just hope that
will
the
love it.
news I just hope that the news about West Ham maybe comes true sometime,
I
because
hope
West Ham
so.
seems to be like an ideal
It,
club
it,
where he
it
can
is.
actually play, because
It is. I hope so.
he's one of those strikers that can play their kind of pattern, their kind of football
Exactly.
that they play at West Ham. Put a
Mm,
striker, and they love very tall strikers, very tall players
exactly.
as well. So put a
And they,
striker
they do need a
forward.
striker now because who have they got? They've only got Michael Antonio at the moment. They will
Yeah,
need a Onuachu, who obviously will score
who can get
goals.
them the goal? Yeah, very true. Onuachu will always get goals any day, anytime.
Well, Onuachu, if you're watching, this is your time. Okay, I tell you, when
We
when
wish him
talking
the best with
football,
his new
time
management, actually.
we
Hopefully, they
wish
do the right
obviously we
thing.
wish him the best, just like we wish every other Nigerian players out there are doing what they know how to do best, all the best. But please think outside the box, you Nigerian players. All right, it's over 1 hour now, Amos. We've been talking football. We've been talking about Nigerian footballers, and it's always a pleasure doing that with you. Hopefully, you're going to be here next week again when we talk about our boys and we review what has gone on in the past week. I thank you again, Amos, for joining us. Pleasure is always mine.
I'm glad Arsenal is leading 1-0. Let's go and enjoy the rest of the game.
That's nice. Well, good luck to you, Arsenal fans out there.
I'll see you
Well,
next
it's
week, guys. Thank you.
see you next week. Thank you. So this is another edition of the football show ending for this Monday. It's been a pleasure hosting this alongside my colleague and partner, Amos Joseph. And please, if you liked this show today, don't forget, give us a thumbs up and tell someone about it. We always come to you every Monday at about this time, 8 o'clock precisely. And we just do it for 1 hour. Okay. My name is Wale. Thank you for joining us. And obviously, thanks to my series producer and director, Yomi Omogeja, that has been out there to make sure that we are, live. You can hear us and you can see us. Thank you so much, Yomi. As we come your way next week, I want to say again, happy married life to you, True Sekong. All the best in as you tighten up. Was it yesterday or the day before? So I wish you all the best. And to all of you out there, have a wonderful week. See you next week. Bye bye.